The moon reaches her state of fullness at 21 degrees in the sign of Scorpio, where she is gripped in a state of debilitation, reflecting the chaos and turmoil of the world today, where the ground is shaking beneath our feet. Now, this forecast is according to the Vedic system of astrology, the yogic scientific system of astrology. My name is Siri Prakash. I welcome you to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I want to share with you the implications and indications of this very powerful eclipse, the first of 3 eclipses that we'll have this summer. Take a look at how it's a marker of time, a marker of consciousness that opens up to us. And then I'll share by sign the effects and indications, and then at the end of the video I'll share with you an old mantra and meditation to help stabilize even the most unsettled mind, how it anchors you into your heart and into the power and center of yourself, bringing calmness, awareness, and strength to your projective field. Now, lunar eclipses energies are immediate. They deliver immediate results. And this lunar eclipse will be active in its energy for 2 weeks. This is the first of 3 eclipses. So we have the one on June 5th, and then we have the second one, and then we have the third one on July 5th. This makes actually a total of 6 eclipses that we will have in this year. Normally we have 4, but this year we have 6, right? So we have another 2 that will come at the end of the year. So we have 3 for the summer. And eclipses are very important for us because they are markers of time. They're markers of karma. It's opening up a state of consciousness that is normally not available to us. So it's really key for you to know in which area that this eclipse is actually opening for you, because it will give you very detailed insight when you tap into its language of time that is opening to you, of what effects it will bring and what it will awaken for you. So this is something very important. Additionally, in the Vedic system, we are taught that we do not go out into the eclipse. We do not look to the eclipse, because this is the absence of light, of our illumination, of our consciousness and of our soul, right? So the sun and the moon, they're our soul. These 2 great luminaries, when they're eclipsed and they're shadowed, it actually is a negative light. It's not a positive light. So if you can, during the eclipse, don't go out into it, and don't be fascinated to look at it. Look at it in a photo is a different story, but don't take yourself out into it, because the cast of this negative light is not positive upon you. Now, the energies that are surrounding the eclipse are also very important for us to understand. So we have Saturn, who's retrograde, who's behaving very, very rebellious. And then we have Jupiter, who's retrograde with Saturn. And this is an indication of where we cannot trust our leaders, where we can't trust our knowledge, where we cannot trust information, right? So it's this absence of guidance, this absence of wisdom, right? So it's this rebellion and lack of structure. Saturn's also this lack of structure. And then it's this absence of being able to trust our leaders. And then we have Venus, who's retrograde. And not only is she retrograde, but she's being combusted right now by the sun. So she's activating this area of our social action, our social structures, our comfort, our finances, our resources, the things that bring us comfort, right? So she is being totally burnt by the sun right now. And she's just kind of giving this feeling like it's enough is enough, right? So it just heightens a state of frustration. And then we have Mars, who's in the sign of Aquarius. In this zone, if you look to the video where I talk about where social unrest will be activated when he gets in there, right? So with this, we've seen unfold. He's in this zone of the power to the people. So it's this hot planet in this air sign, very fixed, and he's making a square to the sun. So it's the agitation that is just reaching its limit, where it's reaching its height. And then we have the moon, right? So what is the moon? The moon is where we seek comfort. It's where we want to find comfort, right? And in the sign of Scorpio, it's what's called as debilitated. So it loses its strength, right? So the moon really likes to be in spaces where it has stability. It's exalted in Taurus, so it's very comfortable in this earthy sign because it can find its rest. It can anchor itself. But in Scorpio, Scorpio, it can't find its anchor. It can't find its stability, right? It brings up a lot of fears in the sign of Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is not a totally negative sign. It's actually one that's deeply devotional and deeply spiritual. But when the moon goes into this space, it actually activates a lot of our fears, a lot of our tensions. And from here, we look at our conscious mind is in a state of being debilitated in this vacuum, which Ketu essentially is, right? So this vacuum space where it's just getting sucked in. And then we have the problem-solving planet Mars, the Mars of action, the planet of war, really making a square to the sun, our soul, but also who is our leader. And then we have Jupiter, who is retrograde, also representing that we can't trust leaders and we can't trust information and we can't trust like receiving counsel, right? And then Saturn, who's absent with structure and who's also behaving very rebellious. So this just creates this like intense energy, this thickness of the mud of just frustration in totality that we see worldwide. But this is only a point in time because there's a lot of light that is coming, right? So this is really true in that there's darkness before the light. There's a lot of light that's coming to us, but we have a tough summer ahead, but not one that we won't make significant changes to. So we should all feel hope and we should all feel good because it's really stacking up for a way where the world needs to change, where it needs to change in how it's utilizing and interacting with the resources of humans, how we're treating humans, how we're treating nature, how we're treating ourselves, right? This isn't a big shift of consciousness change that in this age of Aquarius is bringing. And this year of 2020, it's a year of 4, which also relates to the heart and stability. So this also is where we find this confluence where these energies are really being challenged, but we have the strength to come through, and we must all know that. And we must all know that in standing together, we're united. Even if we disagree, we must stand united that our basic human rights are actually met. And that it's without question. This is a big subject for the summertime, is that our rights of humans are equal and that they're met. And that we're all nourished and that we stand united in this. This is the big shift of what's coming now. And when we do this together, we come through victorious and we all prosper. This is a big part of what this eclipse is teaching us in this June 5th part. Scorpio moons are this place that awaken deep fears and it can awaken anxiety. And the moon, our conscious mind, when it's sitting in this place that it's very dark and it's very cold, it doesn't feel safe, it doesn't feel secure. So it's actually activating this really deep courage within us to really face and have the convictions to face what we're afraid of, right? To face it with courage, right? With a state of devotion, that like Hanuman or that like Arjuna, right? So where you just go into this battlefield of your emotional turmoil and really face it, to really come out and come through it triumphant, right? Because if we connect it with our heart, which is courage, right? If we connect it with our heart, this is where we become free, because then nothing creates a limit within us as long as we keep with courage facing our fears and facing these blocks that are placed upon us, or these restrictions of our perceptive mind, the moon, which is our perceptive lens, these blocks that get placed upon us, right? So you connect with the heart. This is the true medicine of it. When we are in this state of devotion, we connect with our fears in a way that we understand it, recognizing them and embrace them to move through them, not resisting them, but really looking at them, because our observational mind, the moon, is really being pressed to look at, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of the instability that can come through all of this? What are you afraid of that will happen to you? What are you afraid of that will happen within the world? This is the stability of structure through the perception of our mind of how it will impact us is really being activated in this sign of Scorpio. Scorpio. So remaining in your devotional heart and bringing courage, right? Now, what's interesting is that this part of the sky, this lunar sign of Jeshta, which this full moon eclipse is in, is actually one of fighting. So it's this place of the sky, if in the astronomical sense, is close to a star called Antares. And Antares is seen as the second Mars. It's this red star, right? So we have a red star of Betelgeuse, but we also have this red star of Antares, and it's called the second Mars. So it's where, when we have to go through this struggle to actually become victorious, it's this part of like where the fight is instigated and then a strike is pushed back, right? So it's this like this fight of war in this part of Jeshta. And its symbol is a umbrella. So what is an umbrella? It's a shield. It's a shield of protection. It's a shield of actually protection of others. You see in India a lot women wear umbrella earrings. It's not because the umbrella earrings are cute. It's actually a symbol of protection, right? So you see Ganesh walking with an umbrella. It's a shield of protection. So it's this state of place where we can offer protection to others through our courage, through our fear of this darkness, right? So our fear of what we perceive as being an absence of light, right? So this is a very interesting concept to think about right now. So somehow we have a fear of darkness, and we shouldn't have a fear of darkness at all, because in darkness is light, right? So in darkness is us, right? So we are there. So you can't know one without the other. They're together. They're in unison, right? So this is a big theme also too for this full moon eclipse. Now, what's really needed now is our spiritual warrior to be activated. And that's not one of violence, and that's not one of dogma or of religion. Our spiritual warrior is where it doesn't allow our emotional mind to dictate our actions, right? It is the engagement of our higher mind, our higher consciousness into action, and to really conquer this state of fear, to really embrace our fear as part of us, but not allowing it to restrict us. Our spiritual warrior is activated in the helping and the assistance of other people, and not just thinking selfishly of ourselves first, but really putting somebody else in front so that we are acting as a forklift to really uplift each other. This is really what's being called upon the world right now. Now, the consciousness that's grasping this full moon eclipse is Jyeshta Nakshatra. And Nakshatra simply means the consciousness that gets deposited into the planet that is traveling through it. So nakshatras are lunar houses. So we have solar houses and lunar houses. And I'll have a separate playlist soon on my channel to explain these different terminologies, but it's quite simple. It's just the light of consciousness that activates the planets that travel through it. So the moon, our perceptive lens, is being grabbed not only by Ketu, but also this nakshatra Jyeshta. And Jyeshta nakshatra is a very provocative nakshatra. It's this retaliation and fighting nakshatra. So it's about provoking and counterattacking. It's being provoked and it's counterattacking. It's ruled by Mars. The moon is sitting a house owned by Mars, and then being gripped by Ketu, who's also like Mars in its fiery nature. So we see this tumultuous energy that's just arising, kind of like a volcano. Its symbol is that of an umbrella. So it has this quality actually of protecting other people, of offering shelter to other people, right? So you see often in India women wearing earrings that are umbrella shaped. This is not just because they're pretty. It's actually a symbol of protection, right? So there's a lot of layering of imagery and of symbols in cultures, right? So this umbrella is one of protection. You see also Ganesh sometimes walking with an umbrella where he's offering his shelter and protection to people. You also see gurus walking through with this umbrella, this shelter of protection. So it has a deeper meaning, when we put these little pieces of the puzzle together. They really enrich its theme for us, right? So the moon is in this state of where it's being provoked and where it's retaliating, and where its ruler is aspecting the leaders, the sun, right? And where its comfort of Venus is totally burnt out. So it just shows and just screams the tale for us that it's frustrated. The time is just frustrated. We're totally just burnt out. We're totally just fed up. This language of astrology is so rich and so beautiful, right? That we've forgotten to study it. So I really, really encourage you to do so, because we really are just seeing this unfolding of time, this unfolding of karmas, and then we can better align ourselves with it. That's the point of astrology. It's not about one person being able to see things and you not. We all have this ability, so do use these tools. And once Mars moves out of the sign of Aquarius and into the sign of Pisces on June 18th, this energy and this tension will really start to calm down. And this is in alignment with what the timeline of the eclipse shows of like about 2.5 weeks in its effects. But by then we'll be turning the corner and going into another eclipse cycle, which is going to be another intense move of social change, but I'm going to make a separate video about that. So in this period, really keep yourself cool, really find your spiritual courage, find where you're not just allowing your emotions to dictate your action, that you're doing it with strategy and that you're doing it with flexibility, because emotional reactions don't lead us anywhere. They don't bring a good result. They don't yield good effects. We have to really engage our higher mind. This is really key. Now, for those of you who have your ascendant, sun, or moon within 5 degrees of this eclipse, so I would say from 17 degrees to 26 degrees of Scorpio, you will feel this the most. So do take care, and I'll go into it more when we get into the sign by sign section. You know, this eclipse is really activating a lot of deep fears. It's really bringing from the depths of the ocean up to the surface what has been hidden, forcing us to take a look at what we didn't want to look at, what has yet not been addressed, right? This is what Scorpio does so masterfully for us. It brings from the depths up to the surface what is being hidden, right? So the question really is to ask yourself, what are you hiding? What are you not addressing? What river of your mind are you following? And is it taking you to the ocean of depth, where we're connecting with the infinite, where we're connecting with other people? You need to check the river of which your flow is. This is key. This is important during this eclipse season. So let's take a look by sign. So for Aries, this is happening in your 8th house. And your 8th house is this zone of the unseen. So it's this place where Shiva doesn't allow us to really see what can occur. So it brings good things and it can bring some unexpected things, things that aren't necessarily painful, but that are just unexpected or maybe a bit of a shock, right? So we don't have to have fear with it, of it being unknown, because it's not pain associated with pain, but it's one that's associated with unexpected. So here, your ruler is not involved in the eclipse, but your ruler is very much engaged, very active in directing this eclipse, and he's super agitated right now. So just take care of yourself, not feeling too fiery, taking too many risks, thinking that you're invincible right now because you're just feeling hot. You know, just don't do that. I would suggest to you take cold showers. I would suggest to you to sweat to really help to get and engage this energy out of your system. You know, of course, you know, you have to stand up and take care of yourself, but don't allow your emotional mind to dictate your actions. This is really key for you right now. For Taurus, this is your 7th house. Now your ruler is involved in this combustion by the sun, so you can feel a little bit burnt out. You feel your energy is a little bit heavy right now, right? And with it activating your 7th house, you can also feel a little bit irritated and a little bit anxious with your partners. You can feel frustrated with your partners. Maybe you can't trust your partners right now. And partners can be an intimate partner or those you have communication or close with on a daily basis. So right now is not the time to really pick a fight or to try and figure out your source of frustration. In that, it's more a time of just watching how your overarching thought forms are kind of dictating your emotional connection and your emotional awareness with your partnerships. Now for Gemini, this is in your 6th house. Now Gemini, your ruler is quite strong and it's actually doing well for you, but what you want to take care of is that this eclipse is happening in your 6th house, so your 6th house of health and your 6th house of finances. So you don't want to take major decisions right now around finances with the moon being there. As well, you can feel like you want to take care that your health is actually in shape. So this is not only your mental health and your spiritual health, but your physical vitality as well. Because you may be inspired by new projects right now. You may have a lot of things going on, feeling like, yeah, it's great. We can do all these things and I'm going to change the world. It's a time right now where you really want to make sure that you're managing your health, that you're managing your system first before taking action, because otherwise the effects of the eclipse will bring in a great amount of resistance. And because your sign will be involved in the eclipse on the 21st, it's really not a point for making big strides with these things, but putting more of a focus on your health and your vitality right now. This is really important for you. For Cancer, this is your 5th house, so your 5th house of what you create, what you bear from your creativity, and this includes your children. So Cancers can also, because your ruler is in this state of debilitation and being eclipsed or partially eclipsed by Ketu, you can feel that you're not receiving the love that you deserve or that you desire. You can feel frustrated right now that you are not being seen, that it's not coming back to you right now. This is not true. This is only a temporary moment, right? So you need to take care and address that you just put yourself into an emotional state that's really anchored in fact again. So this eclipse is really activating an emotional instability within you. It's revealing an emotional instability within you, not your partner. Recognize that. That's really the truth of this eclipse, so get to work on it. And for Leo, this is happening in your 4th house, the things that nourish you, right? So it's your 12th house ruler in the 4th house. So maybe you're thinking about moving, maybe you're thinking about changing your place, maybe you're thinking about like changing how your living arrangement is. I would say right now is not the time to make significant changes with moving. I would wait until August, actually. This would be a better time for you if you're considering to move. Just wait to make those decisions and what you can do to satisfy this change of wanting to change where you're living. Just move your furniture around, but don't make a move right now because it's not good with your 12th house ruler and the 4th house being eclipsed. It's not the time to make a move. For Virgo, so Virgo, this is happening in your 3rd house. So your 3rd house of siblings, communications, marketing, things like this. So you can feel challenged in your communication right now. You can feel like your communication is not being heard or that you're feeling that it's being taken the wrong way. So with Virgos, you can be kind of demanding and you can think that you're a know-it-all and you know everything and you've got like the whole universe on your keychain and can figure things out. But you know, sometimes we have to be kind of humbled, and somehow you're being humbled right now. So don't take it personally. You know, you are an architect for sure of the universe, Virgo, but right now you're not making big strides and big changes. Communication's challenged. You can feel your efforts are challenged. You can fight with your siblings right now. So just be mindful of that. Let's see, Libra. So this is in your 2nd house of finance. So your 2nd house of finance, this is also too with you, your rulers also being burnt by the sun, right? So Venus being really chewed up by the sun right now and in this highly agitated state. So it's really a time where you can feel very uncomfortable in a dialogue, and also you can feel very uncomfortable in that you are not being seen within the group. You can also feel like you're being lectured a lot by other people. And so you need to take a stand for yourself, you know, because 2nd house is really the house not only of finances, but it's of what's important to us, right? So it's what we value, what we take in. right? So it includes food. So you can overindulge in food right now, trying to fill that void where you're not feeling that you're being valued right now. So this is something for you to address, something for you to take note of. These are time markers, right? They're openings of consciousness. So you can get insight now with it. So take note of what it is, but at least wait a week until after the eclipse to address it with those who are close to you, where you feel like you are not being heard. Scorpio. So Scorpio, for you, this is happening in your first house. So your first house is a major change. So this could be where you're looking at where you're headed in life, what your direction is. You can feel really challenged in your direction right now, what you think is the right way to move forward. So this is something that's significant for Scorpio. So Scorpios, actually, my suggestion to you is to really use this time, right? So full moons and eclipses are not made for periods for making any major decision for anybody, but for you, you'll get really valuable insight of what kind of a direction, where you want to take your life, and how you want to make changes. This will give you great insight right now, but you can feel like you need to take action right now because your ruler is super agitated, and he's the depositor of this moon and also the nakshatra ruler of this moon. Don't make major decisions again right now with if you want to change your career, if you want to break up with your partner, you can just feel like you're fed up. It's a good period to really look at it, but it's not a good period to take action. So again, for you in this summertime, there's a blossoming for Scorpio. So there's good things that are happening for you, but you want to wait. Really, you want to wait until August to make major significant changes. Just write about what you want to do right now. Take note of the insights that come to you. Read the omens, because this is really significant for Scorpios, because it's the omens that really tell us a lot. And for Scorpios, you receive a lot of information if you would just listen. Now for Sagittarius, this is in your 12th house. So your 12th house is this house of transformation, right? So this is actually a great house. Everybody's afraid of transformation. I'm not sure why. Transformation, I really look forward to. I think it's great, right? So for Sagittarius, your ruling planet, Jupiter, is actually preparing to come home, right? And so this is kind of a place where there can be very weird surprises that happen, but good ones. So for Sagittarius, this is not too bad. It's really a place of like where weird surprises, weird things can arise, good information, good things can come to you. It's actually a nice eclipse for you. And it's a place also too that will kind of put you back on a path, right? So the moon will awaken this path for you of where you need to really follow, kind of like doing a course correction for you. So it's not a new decision, but it's a course correction where weird things will happen, like where weird like shifts will happen to put you back on the path where you've kind of maybe gone astray. And when your ruling planet comes back into your own sign, you'll feel really good about this decisions. And for Capricorn, so this is happening in your 11th house of gains, earnings, and connections with other people. Now for Capricorns, this is actually quite nice. So for you, it can feel like things are starting, like there's some sense of relief. So for Capricorns, you're really taking the hit for us this year with Saturn being in it's your own sign and on your ascendant sun or moon. But it's actually good because, you know, Saturn really works to build long-term changes. It really works to build long-term stability right now. So he's acting a little bit chaotic and a bit rebellious, but overall for his transit there, it's a good one for you, Capricorn. And in this, with this eclipsed new full moon, you can see that there can be some gains that actually come in for you, some new connections that will be formed for you. So it's a good eclipse for you, but again, not one to make investments, not ones to purchase anything significant. So this is not the period for this. Now for Aquarius, so this is happening for you in your 10th house of career. So in this part, you can feel like you're full of ideas, like you have a lot of energy, a lot of will, a lot of like pressure to get things done. And during this eclipse, you can see like where you're just taking a shift in the direction, a shift in the connection to your career, a shift in what you want to do with your career will come up. Insights of how you want to change and really reshape your career will come up during this eclipse period. And for Pisces, the last sign. So for you, this is happening in your 9th house, about your ability to receive and your ability to give advice, right? So in this period of time right now, it's really about you not getting caught up in conspiracy theories with other people, and for you also to be very mindful about not just like promoting propaganda or your agenda of things, because the moon right now is not very stable in this house. So your ability to really give advice and your ability to receive advice is not so strong right now. So just connect with your own internal voice and really make note of this, but don't really dish out the advice and dish out the information, because right now your ruling planet is not so strong. When he moves back at the end of the month of June, it's better, you're more strong and stable. But right now with this lunar eclipse, it's not the time to really kind of dish out what you think the opinion of how things should be and how things should act, you know. Just put your non-emotional mind into action, and this will serve you better. Now, before we end the video, I want to share with you a really beautiful mantra that you can use in your everyday life, but one that's really great during the eclipses. So it's one that was given to an original form of Shiva known as a Rudra, and it was given from Brahma. And this has been taught in many traditions. Its origins is from the Vedas, but it was taught in Yogi Bhajan's class. It was taught in Hatha classes that I've been in India, where it's this mantra that helps to transform this lower form of the mind, this emotional form of the mind, into a very tranquil state. And like I said, it transformed this Rudra into the auspicious Shiva. And the story of it is that when Brahma was actually given the task to create the universe from Vishnu, he created beings to help him populate the earth. And he created his sons, the 3 Kumars, who then challenged their father, what children don't challenge their father, by saying to him, why should we populate this earth and help to build this earth when it's going to be destroyed in an instant? And Brahma really couldn't argue with this, because they wanted to just focus all of their energy on God, not on something that was impermanent. And so then he was so angry at his sons, he was so angry at them, that he was getting this distorted and contorted face, and from this forehead of him plopped out this purple sun, this purple blue sun, who came out just screaming, who am I? What am I here to do? Ah, just screaming, screaming, screaming. And so Brahma said to him, you should split. So he split him, and split him again, and split him again, to create all these different dimensions and multiply the Rudra, so that he could utilize their energy to help populate and to help create the earth. And so he said, okay, now go make babies. So the Rudra said, okay. So the male and female version of the Rudras went to make babies. And so Brahma was sitting in his part of the universe, and he starts to hear this rumbling and this ripping down of everything. And so he came out from his meditative state to find the original Rudra. And so he went to him and he said, what are you doing? And he said, well, you told us to make babies, so we made babies. And he said, but you can't destroy the earth. You can't destroy it. And so he said, I want you to go and I want you to meditate with this mantra and take all of the Rudras with you. And the mantra is Ram Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. And they all went into the mountains and all throughout the earth, and they just started meditating Ram Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. And for quite a while, Brahma was sitting in his area of the universe, and he heard nothing. And so he went to investigate to find out what's going on. And he went up to the original form of this original form of Ruja, the firstborn of the Rujas. And he said to him, "You're the most divine creature. You're the most beautiful creature. Because you've meditated with such devotion and with such clarity, you are no longer a Rujan, you are now the auspicious Shiva." Isn't that a beautiful story? So it's also in these times where we're ripping apart the earth, where we're really shouting and screaming, frustrated. Who am I? What am I here to do? How am I going to do anything? How am I going to take care? In this real sense of deep frustration, you can call upon this mantra and utilize it to help transform your mind. So it's done on one breath, and you inhale a few times, exhale a few times to prepare yourself, right? And you'll find your rhythm. It's not meant to sound like a pop song, and it's not meant to sound like sweet and beautiful to anybody but yourself. And there's a particular nod, a particular sound current, right? So it's Ram Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. So you inhale, exhale, inhale. Ram Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. One breath. Ram Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. 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 So you can do this for 3 minutes, 7 minutes, 11 minutes, 31 minutes, as much time as you like, as much as you can fit it in. And really what we do when we work with mantra is we're stimulating the meridian points within our upper palate to really change and affect the state of our conscious mind. And then we're syncing and synchronizing it with our breath so that we can bring in stability into our thought forms, right? So it's not about a religion, it's not about a dogma, it's just about regulating our mind so that we can improve our thinking ability, improve our reactions, right? How we're creating space to give us the moment to really change the direction of our actions and of our thought forms. It's really about us leveling up our ability to interact within the world in a better state. I thank you very much for joining me in my video today. Please like and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. If you have anything you'd like to see, please comment below, and I'll see you next time. Sat Nam.